You don't want to go down that kind of traditional path of, oh, I laid out the text on an image and I just changed the image 2 times and that's my 3 types of creative. No, we want really diverse creative, UGC versus static versus video versus some of that kind of scroll stopping viral type content or employee generated content. Stop and don't spend another single cent on advertising until you listen to this. I'm Marianne Amies. This is Ready, Set, Paid Ads, digital marketing for paid ad success. Let's go. Welcome back to another episode of Ready, Set, Paid Ads. Today, we're going to talk about Meta's new one campaign trick. Now, if you're like me and you are served a lot of paid ads content on Instagram or on TikTok, you'll be hearing a lot about a new campaign structure where people are getting great results by just creating one campaign instead of many. So, what could it mean for you if you could do away with the multiple campaign strategies, invest everything in one campaign and let Meta do that heavy lifting for you as well? In the past, we have set up so many campaigns. So a one campaign structure, it seems too good to be true almost. And I guess coming back to our recent episode I did on the Andromeda update, it really seems it is time for us to give over a little bit of control and see what the platform can do for us. So today I'm going to break down what it means to set up a one campaign strategy. I'm going to talk about how Andromeda fits into all of this and also how you can get testing on it straight away. So what were the problems with the old structures, I suppose? Traditionally, we had multiple campaigns. We may have had a prospecting campaign, a retargeting campaign, a testing campaign. You might have had general awareness. You might have had conversion. So in there, we then had different ad sets. So we were targeting different people in different ad sets. And a lot of ad set duplication, a lot of ad duplication as well. And I guess if we think about maybe some of the cons of that strategy, we lost a lot of information after iOS 14. And now that was a few years back, but that definitely shifted the ads space for us and definitely changed our visibility on our results. Then we also had the problem of audience overlap. We often have to talk to clients that might want 2 different campaigns with very similar audiences that you'll actually begin to compete against yourself. Once you have a campaign and you introduce another campaign, they are different, I like to call them folders. They're different folders, they're different ad briefs. So, Meta doesn't necessarily then separate out 2 unique people. So you can actually start to cannibalize your own success and drive up your own price because you're competing against yourself. And then lots of wasted budget and data fragmentation. When we have lots of different campaigns, often we don't have lots more budget. So we're spreading that one budget across lots of different areas. And that means that we can't collect as much rich data. The platform can't make as many decisions or be armed with enough information to make future decisions. And again, that leads to poor performance or not the best performance we could be getting. So when we talk about the one campaign trick, we're talking about consolidation. So think about creating just one campaign, a broad audience and multiple ad creatives. We've talked so much over the last year about creative being the biggest driver of success on Meta, and that is not going away. So thinking about all the different ad creatives that you may have had across all your different campaigns and how you can consolidate them into one. So we also need to really make sure we have the conversions API working and pixel data, because that's going to feed all the signals back to the channel and help us in learning from that one centralized account. So why go to, one campaign, or why try out one campaign? Obviously, we have faster learning. By consolidating our budget into one account, we can now have more data flow through into that account or campaign. And so that means that the platform can learn a lot quicker what's working and what's not, which then leads to stronger optimization. When we're testing fewer things, when we have less complexity, that budget can concentrate into those creatives and it can mean optimization can happen a lot faster. And then obviously reducing the overlap and competing campaigns like I touched on in the traditional kind of way that we've done things. If we have multiple campaigns, as I said, there is that overlap and there is that cross competition, which is going to limit your results. So the one campaign is really about letting Meta, leaning into Meta's tools and letting it find us the most relevant buyers for our product. Wrapping back to a previous episode on the Andromeda update, I talked about how Andromeda is like the world's best barista who anticipates the needs of customers before they even know them themselves, and how Andromeda can mix and match menu options to come up with new ideas and to serve people exactly what they need when they need it. So leaning into Andromeda and using that in conjunction with the Advantage Plus tools means that we can really change the way we build and manage campaigns. So in the kind of one campaign trick, the role of Andromeda is firstly that there's consolidated signals. So Andromeda is going to interpret cross-device and cross-platform activity and be able to bring that back into Advantage Plus audiences to drive insights and learnings against audiences so that the platform can adapt to its targeting for you. We're going to have better attribution across kind of the whole Meta ecosystem. So we're able to see what device, what gender the person was. We're going to be able to see where the transaction ended, or if there was an abandoned cart, or if we captured the lead, or they did some other on-page activity as well. So we're going to be able to understand better what people are doing in response to our ads. And then it can also deliver smarter placements and creative matching. Remembering now with Andromeda, we want to upload more components of ads rather than finished ads. So we want to upload lots of headline variation, lots of copy variation, lots of creative variation, rather than thinking of it as in defined sets of this image with this copy with this headline. So when we go into that kind of one campaign structure, we're allowing the platform to do smarter placements and creative matching. So if it's putting us in stories, then it's able to maybe draw from a high impact button call to action with a video that we've uploaded. Whereas if it's putting us on a desktop feed on Facebook, it's able to pick a landscape image and, a really great headline. So we're allowing the platform more control of how it serves our ads, where it serves it, and then who it serves it to as well. And the benefit of this, and really Andromeda in this way, is that even a small budget advertiser should see better outcomes by feeding more data as opposed to more campaigns. So when you have a small budget, trying to do multiple campaigns to warm up an audience, to middle funnel, convince them and entice them, and then to bottom of funnel, convert them, you need $5, $10, $15, $20 a day for each campaign. And as a small advertiser, that might not be possible. Whereas with a one campaign, if you've got $50 a day all in on that campaign, and you've fed Andromeda all those options of creative that talks to the bottom, middle, and top, it can mix and match serving that to people. And it can actually take people on that journey without your intervention as well. So you want to do a one campaign trick and you're not really sure what to do. So let's talk about how to apply this idea and how you can get testing today. So basically, you're going to go in and you're going to create a campaign, and you're going to do so with a single broad audience. So we've talked a lot about the shift in ads being shifting away from us, I guess, artificially influencing the audience of our content, and instead letting Advantage Plus and Andromeda work together to test and find the best audience for us. So if we're running a children's clothing business, and we have always targeted women 25 to 39 in metro areas, we might not realize that there is a regional older woman target that is actually a really active shopper and purchases a lot for nieces and nephews or grandchildren. And because we've kind of always placed our ads at that lower end, we've never allowed our brand to be exposed to somebody different. Or it could be the dads that are really getting involved and we're not targeting them. So when we run a single campaign with a broad audience, we're not constraining the audience on the beliefs that we've held. So we set up our campaign. If it's a conversions campaign, when we come into audience, we're really leaving it broad. So it might just be that it's Australia or where we ship to. It might be a kilometre radius that we can service if we're a face-to-face business or if we're a local business. But other than that, we don't want to get into the traditional nitty-gritty of audience detail. But what we do want to do is load it up with creative variety. So I want you to think about all the content you love on social media and how your ad content can reflect that. It's also really important that you look at variety. You don't want to go down that kind of traditional path of, oh, I laid out the text on an image and I just changed the image 2 times and that's my 3 types of creative. No, we want really diverse creative, UGC versus static versus video versus some of that kind of scroll stopping viral type content or employee generated content, us versus them, testimonials. How can you get a lot of variety? And again, thinking about that variety in terms of some of it might be video, some of it might be image, some of it might be carousel type content. So we want to make sure we're talking to different targets through our creative with different hooks and different messages. If your baby clothing is sustainable and it's also somehow stain-proof, run some creative just focusing on stain-proof. Run some creative just focusing on sustainability because we want to try hook different people depending on what they might be interested in. When we're setting up this one campaign trick, we also want to ensure that our conversions API is set up. So that's going to help Andromeda work to its fullest capability. So if your conversion API isn't running, there is no feedback loop to Meta on when you actually convert and when you don't convert. We're finding at the moment that can be a challenge with some industries where we can't actually get the conversions API to work, and that is things around health. There's a lot of, protection in place so that health services aren't feeding back that loop to Facebook. But, if you've got a lead gen sort of inquiry-based ad campaign or you've got a sales campaign, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to get the conversions API up and running. And that is critical to this type of campaign. But it's also going to be critical going forward, maximizing what Andromeda can do for us as well. So then we want to be able to track creative level results instead of ad sets. So we want to know which creative is actually performing the best. And that's where you're going to analyze what to do next. So rather than before when we look at ad sets and we'd think, oh, we'll turn off this audience or the retargeting audience isn't performing, you're going to want to instead look at your creative and turn off poor performing creative and keep generating more fresh creative. Somewhat, if you can even just be feeding another 1 to 2 creatives into that campaign every week, you're going to get more longevity out of it. And you're also going to be able to continually trim out poor performers while testing new creative at the same time. So, what this is going to look like when you go into your campaign manager is that instead of 3 campaigns like traffic, engagement, and sales, you're going to have 1 campaign. And within that campaign, you're going to have lots of creatives that run traffic, run engagement, run sales, that target and talk to those types of outcomes. And then you're going to let Andromeda actually optimize that delivery and serve the right ad to the right person for you. So obviously it's huge to think of all your campaigns stopping today and going to just a 1 campaign strategy. I think it's wonderful to do some form of testing. Obviously, for this to be successful, you are ideally meant to just have that 1 campaign up and running. So it might work now before we hit the kind of Black Friday period to pick maybe a 2-week period to stop your current campaigns and to test out a 1 campaign strategy. You will need about 5 to 10 days to see. We do find the optimization starts to happen kind of 4 to 5 days in, and that's obviously budget dependent as well. But you're going to be wanting to look at your like cost per lead or cost per sale, as well as your conversions, and just kind of get a read on, is this performing better than what I've had? I've seen examples of this where somebody's cost per purchase was $150 and then it's dropped down to $90 just by running a one campaign strategy. So definitely we can't assume any set and forget here. That creative refresh is so important and requires your monitoring. The effort we used to put into the ad audience tweaking, we now really need to put into the creative side. So working on your headlines, your copy, your visual assets, and continually refreshing them. You want to definitely watch the budget pacing, especially for small accounts. So just see if you've got enough budget in there, how quickly your budget's getting spent each day as well. And then obviously, reporting looks really different when you roll out this. So it's less campaign level control. It's more AI decision making. So it's looking at creative, looking at those key metrics, as I was saying, like your cost per clicks and your conversion, your cost per conversion, your frequency. Definitely keep an eye on your frequency. You can also run reports to see how you're targeting new versus existing customers as well. And you can tweak some of that balance in your settings. So definitely still monitoring and really checking on how it's going. And then after that, maybe first 10 days, just making a decision. Is this campaign strategy right for you and your business? So I think the one campaign trick really works because Meta and Andromeda thrive on consolidated signals and creative variety. So with a one campaign, we're able to feed so much more in and really concentrate that effort rather than spreading ourselves thin over multiple campaigns. If you're running 5 campaigns right now, this is a great structure to test out. Start small, monitor the results, and see how Andromeda really responds to your business and if it's going to be something that you can kind of go all in on as well. As always, I would love to hear if you try this out. I'd love to hear any roadblocks you have. And I think it's exciting. It's always important to test the new features that platforms put out because there's generally rewards for adopting early. So get in there, give it a go. Let me know how you go. And until next time, I look forward to speaking to you soon. That's a wrap on another episode of Ready, Set, Paid Ads. If you're looking for done-for-you services, training to upskill you in ads management, or free and paid resources to help you plan and execute better ads, head to wiseupmarketing.com.au. If you've loved this episode, be sure to subscribe for future episodes. And if you know someone that would love this podcast too, go on and share it.